In this video, I'm going to show real quickly how to play with your start and end point on a spiral echo pattern. So I would have been at my machine and I would have my block and I would have marked that block on quilt so it was exactly the size I was working on. And then my sunbonnet Sue, if I was stitching in the ditch around it, I would have been tracing on quilt. In this case, I actually just did mark on quilt. So I have a block here because I did the tracing. So I need to convert it to a pattern to be able to echo it. So I'm going to add edit block, block to pattern, and I'm going to click on Sunbonnet Sue's outline and finished. Now to add the echo, I'm going to say add edit pattern, add pattern, echo pattern, and what do I want to echo? I want to echo Sue, continue. And here you can decide how many repeats, what your gap is going to be, how smooth you want it to be. But I'm going to tell it, touch the area where you want to place the echo. I want it outside of Sue, and I would be making enough echoes to go all the way to the edge of the quilt, but just so that it's not a huge number, let's change my echo gap a little bit bigger. And no, I'm not going to do that. Oh, we've got 10. Let's try 15. That would work. I could use the plus and minus key to get there as well. I can decide how smooth I want it to be. I generally prefer it a little bit smoother to take out any of my jigs and jags that showed up in my recording. I could have smoothed the pattern as well. You can adjust this either with the with the number pad or with the plus and minus. I'm going to go back up. I like it a little smoother. Don't want my ripples to have super sharp points. Okay, when I'm happy with what I'm seeing on the screen, I'm going to click Accept. And now I can decide on my transition. Right now it has none, so it has a start and stop on every single echo. If I put the plus sign, it goes to jump stitches. I still have start and stops on every single echo. Tie off does the same thing, it just ties off. Then we can go to spiral, and here's my spiral, and instead of having start and end points, it actually is continuous. But here's my first start point right here, and it's very close to where my start and end was on Sunbonnet Sue. But I can grab that point and I can drag it. If I wanted it to start there and I was happy with everything else, then I just drag it to that point. Now, sometimes the further you drag it, it just depends. I was testing this on a much more complicated thing. Sometimes it makes a mess. It's not so much on Sue. If I don't like it, I'm going to click Finished. It makes you think you're really finished, but you're not. And I can do undo, and it takes away my my echo, and I can start over. But in this case, I would want to modify my pattern. So if I want to get my start and end point to kind of start somewhere else, I'm going to click on my pattern, say continue, going to click start and end, and I'm going to drag it over here, say finished. And then I'm going to add pattern, echo pattern. I want to echo Sue, continue. I'm going to click outside of her. If I'm happy with what I'm seeing, I'm going to say accept. And I have to go through all this again. Right now, transition is on none, but I'm going to go jump stitch, nope. Tie off, no. Spiral. See, this time it is starting over here in her neck rather than up here at the bonnet. Again, I could back it off, and I could start it there if I wanted to. So that's just real quick how I would decide where my start and end point is on that. I'm going to say finished. Now this is all one pattern, and I wouldn't want it to sew all the way around, so I would go add edit block, add block, clipping block. I want to clip my echo quilt, continue. I'm going to select an existing block. This would be the block that I have already marked on quilt, or you could mark it on quilt at this point in time. I usually mark it first so I can see how far I want my echoes to go. I'm going to click on that block and continue. And then I'm going to say finished. Yes, I'm fine with it. And now I get my transition type. If I go with continuous, it's going to be going over this line every single spiral. So I really don't want that. I can click jump stitch. I personally use this, and I'll show you what I do, but really fast. And then tie off. It would just tie off after each one. And continuous again. So I would do jump stitch and accept. There's 28 of them. I keep track of that, and I'm going to say finished. And then what I do is I go into add edit pattern, split patterns, and you click anywhere on the jump stitch, and this is in another video that's already out there, and split them away. Split. And I would have looked to see how many jump stitches there were, so I know how many I need to split, so I actually count them as I'm splitting. But you start to see all those start and end points. Don't know if there's one in there. I'm not going to worry about it for the video. I'm not actually stitching this. Split, split. So I should end up with a start and end point for every single line that hits the edge of the block. I got one there. Split. Split, split, and I've got start and end points there, so I'm down to here, split, split, all the way around. Okay, so now I'm finished splitting, most likely. Sometimes I find a jump stitch after. Finish, and now I'd be saying sew quilt. We're going to select the first pattern to quilt. I always select the one that goes around the pattern on the inside so I can get as many spirals as possible. And then I'm going to say continue. Then I would click over here, and here's my what would be a jump stitch, or it can be continuous. I would probably go ahead and say continuous, but I also sometimes just say stop to cut threads, and I manually stitch in the ditch over here if I'm having issues, because as your echo quilting continues around, your pattern pulls in, so sometimes that ditch doesn't stay in exactly the same spot as it was originally. But in this case, I'm just going to say continuous. And it came around and stopped here. Well, I'm not going to cross over here. I'm going to go to this one because it's the shortest path. I'm going to swap my start and end points. Whoops, nope, that was not where we ended, sorry. Let's just say continue, stop to cut threads. I'm going to say undo. So my stop was actually, so I came back out of that one. My stop was actually here. So I'm going to go there, swap start and end, continue. I can do continuous, or I can stop to cut threads, completely up to you. Continue. And this one I'm going to have to swap, continue. I skipped one, but you're going to just keep doing that till you fill it all the way in, and I usually will work all the way across one edge, so I'm getting my shortest path, and then I will come over and do the other one. So once I'm done, I'm going to sew quilt, and then I would have to set it up for each block because no block is going to be exactly the same as far as my clipping block.